Ladies, my name is Chaz, and welcome to the What If Deku was here. Let me read. What if Deku was born with a Red Lantern core battery in his heart? That's a full name. I chose to write it out as this. So, without further ado, let's jump right into the what if. So, but before we start, make sure that the volume's all the way up. Up. And yeah, and make sure that this. So, yeah. Zuko ends up. So, he was born with a. Instead of having a normal heart like you and me, who's ever watching this video, you and me, we all have normal hearts. Except for Tony Stark, that from the Marvel's TV show. Okay? Or from those movies. And yeah. Well, it's based on that type concept. So, without further ado, let's jump right into the what if. So, let's start with the Red Lantern Corps, because normally you don't see them as much in like movies or TV shows. They're just like be bad guys and just like bygones be bygones types of deal. So let's continue. So, and if you're hearing that sound, it's because I put in a sandwich. So it was my breakfast. So now let's continue. So Zuko ends up, Red Lanterns in this alternate timeline, their core, their entity of rage has died somehow, and they're trying to figure out why their batteries or their charged batteries didn't work, but they didn't know that the entity had a offspring. Like basically the offspring means that it had a kid. That's him. But it was in a human body on Earth. So it was Zuko Midoriya. Here, let me show you. This guy. So Zuko, who was born at the same time. So the Cav, or should I say the kid, I don't know how to pronounce so the entity, he's offspring that is going to be the main new one inside of his body, or was born inside Zuko's body. So his heart was a battery. Let me type up here. Ready? Yeah. He had one of these things inside of his chest. It was a small version inside of his chest. But when he was growing up, it becomes bigger, like a full-size one. So, let's continue this what if. So, yeah. So, that's a whole point with the Red Lanterns. Now we move on to Zuko. And I'm also adding Zumi, I forgot to mention. But she comes after. So, Zuko was born as basically he was born with a quirk of regeneration. So, and he was also had that core as his inside of his heart. Makes it look like a actual normal heart, but in yeah, stuff like that. But Zuko, he doesn't get any chest pains during it. And so when they were toddlers, or when they were kids, he had rampage, or should I say, Rampage Jr. As his, friend. Or imaginary friend. But turns out that he's part of him. So, yeah. So, yeah. So, imagine this as a younger version of the original. So, yeah. So, a time skip to 4 years old. So, basically, Rampage Jr. and Zuko are at age of 4. Now, and the reason why I'm talking so, weird, it's because I'm weird. And plus, so, Zuko ends up basically went to the Quark Doctor with his imaginary friend. That's later down the line that that's his part of him that he talks to. So, Zuko Midoriya, was basically... So the Quark Doctor looks at Zuko and tells him that he has a quirk. A regeneration quirk. Not suited for combat. So, yeah. His mother, Inko, was depressed because of... She wanted her son to have the same quirk as if it was both of them. Her and her husband. But her husband wasn't in Japan. Or actually, her husband was doing stupid stuff, if you know Otis. So, yeah. And so, Zuko, it's based on, I forgot to say, it's based on the, what if Deku joined the Red Lantern Corps type of deal. But this is the opposite. Like, Zuko is the entity of the Red Lantern Corps. He is the rage. He is everything that the Red Lanterns need to survive from stuff like that. So, yeah. So then Inko didn't know that he was born with a battery, Red Lantern battery, inside of his chest. So he's like, huh. So let's say they were living in bad part of the town. And the hero community, or should I say the Shields of Heroes, decided to, when they heard that Zuko had regeneration, they called her immediately and made a offering that to sell her own son to them, to basically to implant his quirk into All Might to keep him top shape thing. And so she did. As Zuko doesn't mind. But they have to first, they tortured him. But one day, one of the, guards that is gonna escort him to the torture room, ended up, he says, huh, you're talking to your imaginary friend? And Zuko's eyes are just like that. Why won't you just leave me alone? Well, we need to, so far, you come with us and, because you don't exist anymore. Okay. As Zuko, who's basically somehow Zuko manages to pull out a vial of his own quirk as he gives it to, here, it's my quirk if you want. As a detective, or not detective, the security guard is like, whoa, are you sure that's your quirk? Yeah. As he shows Holmes that he stabbed himself with his own hand, his own fingernail, and to draw some blood out of his. And he's like, oh, crud. As he did tell, or Zuko said, I told you, if you wanted my quirk to be put into All Might, I'm okay with that. As he says, in here. But you guys took me in and tortured me with it. As they're like, you weren't kidding. Sorry about that. As but we needed a test to see how it will work. before. Yeah. But, okay. So far, it did work a couple times. So, yeah. So the security guard takes the blood from Zuku's hands, like the jar of blood, and he gives it to the scientist to test, to see how it will work. But then it works, and he says it like he means it. And so, yeah. But now, because Zuko is no longer, as he says, or actually he just lays in his cell with his imaginary friend. This is your chance to escape. No. No. When they say Zuko who's, or that I don't exist, as he tells him, if I don't exist, because of what they said, I don't need to be that. So then, yeah, Zuko, as the detective, or not detective, the Shields of Heroes, they're like, what should we do with this kid? We took his quirk out of his own body. Or actually, he gave it to us without any drawbacks. Yeah? And we erased all of his, or almost cleaned out all of his stuff that he had on record. Yeah? But we should give it back to him because they did not realize that Zuko actually, so they didn't realize that one of them actually saved all of his files. So, yeah, before. So Zuko flies around. So he been in like jail cell since for about 2 years. Let's say he was 7 years old, and and he didn't have enough free time with because he doesn't exist. So then when All Might heard that from the Shields of Heroes that they're going to plant a kid's quirk inside his body, honey, then to keep him alive longer and fit. So they're like, so he's like, you can't. And it's bad. Well, it's his choice. That's what, to keep you alive. And so So then, yeah. So during the time skip of 2 years, Inko, who got married to... Where is he? Where is he? Where is he? Let me show you. She got married to Lex Luthor. Because she got dumped by her boyfriend or her husband before. Because he was... Or they weren't making enough money. So then all that stuff. But then they had to... He was super mad. Because he said that why did you have to sell our son off to whom the Shields of Heroes? Because they gave us the money. And so stuff like that. So yeah. So then she gets married to Lex Luthor. Because of the divorce and all that stuff. But yeah, but Zuko he was born, so he's like, huh. So then Batman, Superman, when Batman heard like some rumors, things from the villains, that the heroes or the Shields of Heroes in Japan has a experiment that turns All Might into the immortal All Might. As they explained, or should I say, let's say one of the villains was the All Might, or no, not All Might. I meant let's say Harley Quinn. This version of Harley Quinn wasn't really a bad guy, or bad, whatever. She told Batman that I heard rumors on the streets that the Shield of Heroes has been working on a project to keep All Might alive. Wait, so you're saying they experimented on... So you're saying that they were experimenting on the heroes? Yeah, and some other ones, some other bad guys. As one of the Harley Quinn's henchmen says, yeah, I heard that he got some random kid named Zuko Midoriya. I don't know who he is, but what I heard, he was basically had a regeneration quirk. It's not useful for combat abilities. So you're saying that they took him to to have his quirk they didn't realize that Zuko was actually born as a So they didn't realize it. But Zuko is the entity of rage. So basically, he has, or actually, he is the entity of truth. It was because he, sorry. So he is the entity of truth, that he was born with a core battery that Red Lanterns need to power up their batteries or their rings. So, and the Red Lantern, or should I say the entity of rage, had a offspring that was named, I keep getting this creature's name wrong, so I thought he was called Rampage, or yeah, I think I need to look that up a little bit more, but so Zuko was pretty tough. So the Red Lantern turns, like, basically, or Zuko actually obtained it from birth. So now the heroes, or shields of heroes, we're switching back to the shields of heroes. As they're like, we know that you do exist now, Zuko. And we kind of feel bad for you. You know, that we took away your quirk, and but as they sat right next to him, but they might be wondering what's going on in the world. Your mother, her, divorced your divorced your father, and because of us, and she's got married to as he says it with, as he says, she got married to Lex Luthor. As when he heard that Zuko, or when he heard that Inko was now got remarried to someone else, he was shocked. That because he wanted his family to be, because, so we'll let you go. Okay. Went nowhere. As he says, I don't have a home to go to. I don't have anyone to turn to. Just leave me in here and, okay. So I only have myself. Oh. As he had tears coming down his face, as a voice inside of his head saying, "You have me, though." As he telepathically says, "I won't forget about you." As they're like agreeing that he's free to do whatever he wants, because as he even told them that that Zuko, or hold on, sorry, my body's shaking right now. So Zuko ends up telling them that everyone will start calling me quirkless, deku, or anything like that. But hey, as Zuko looks away, "I know it's hard for you, Zuko. To have experience with this much pain. But you'll join, let's say you joined UA. And Zuko's shows some of the rampage stuff. So he says, joining UA is for someone that was born without a quirk. You wanted me to go and join UA. I'm gonna join the quirkless school. Then that, because if a person in quirkless, as I know how you feel, Zuko, but this is the only choice. I know how much pain. As they didn't know that Zuko actually, or none of them know that Zuko actually had a Red Lantern battery inside of his chest. So, sorry, it gets cold when my arms start to shake. So, he says, "Fine, I'll go to UA." So then he goes to UA. Let me remind you, he is at 7 years old, and he's going to UA. And at age of 7. So, because they convinced him. So, and he mostly spends his days at the jail cells for him. Like at school or at UA. Because a way that he was, where he was growing up, it was more a safe place than his actual bed stuff. So, let's say dorms were implemented earlier, and so Nezu actually walks up and tells him that he doesn't need to be that kind of person. And they all agree that he is in basically a support class thing. And he's the only one that's younger than Mountain Lady. He's yeah. So so she was 16, and so Zuko would been in this alternate timeline would be age of 7 years younger than Mountain Lady when she was a student. And so, yeah. So now the Zuko is now done. So Zuko, his rampage was growing angsty. So he activates his true powers. Because so the detective's like, well, Zuko, is always in pain. But I'm trying to figure out why him, like, mentally. As the cat person says, well, he's going through a rough time with his parents being, like, divorced, and then she gets remarried, and the stuff like that. So he's going through a rough time. So then Batman and Wonder Woman walks over to UA to just because let's say they were teaching at UA. This is a new student. Oh, he's Zuko Midoriya. Or Zuko. And he's 7 years younger than... But he's quirkless. Yes. Because, yeah. As the Batman did heard about him, so he's like, kid, I know that you wanted to become a hero like the rest of us, but you need powers, or you need quirks, and yeah. I know that I know they took away your quirk to be. And when All Might heard, because let's say All Might was around the corner, and when he heard which kid that they took that quirk from, was Zuko Midoriya, he could not believe. And so then so All Might, and so then let's say after school, let's say Wonder Woman walks up because she felt a raging presence inside Zuko's body. As he sits down and pets an invisible thing. And even the Green Lantern was there, and he could sense Zuko's. Or so when when they both walked up, Zuko, are you mentally insane to like? What do you mean? Well, as Red Lantern did use his ring to, or no, I meant Green Lantern used his ring to scan the full body of Zuko, and what he found was Zuko was born with he was born with a Red Lantern core in battery inside of his chest. So, Red Lantern Zuko Green Lantern Zuko, Green Lantern says, how long have you had this since I was born? His name I call him Junior. Rampage Junior is his name. But I mostly call him that. Okay? As they're like, yeah. But I told, or actually Green Lantern's like, he's the offspring of the Red Lantern, as Zuko says, or as Green Lantern says to Zuko. So that means that you're your embodiment of you basically are the owner of the Red Lantern. You are the Red Lantern. As when everyone heard that, including like Nezu, All Might, and the students from UA, were even the Shield of Heroes was there, but when they heard what Zuko was, like what he was born in with, they're like, wait, so yeah, do you want to see the Rampage Junior looks like? Come on out. As he brings out a little version of this creature, as he roars. Now, little buddy. So your embodiment of it, like you're basically, both of you are one and the same. Yeah. But how? As Green Lantern shows a screen of what his heart looks like, or actually, let's say Batman scans and they see the core, like a literal battery core. Like, give me a minute to find this inside of his chest. Does it hurt you? Is that why the quirk called regeneration helps you with the pain? No. I was born with it. It is part of me, and I'm part of him. As Deku says, but most of the time, people are just too weird. As the All Might's like, holy crud, you're more powerful than anything. The quirks keeps you alive from getting killed. Yeah. And so that makes you a mortal version. Yeah. As there's like constructs around the Zuku's like forming like arms, toys, everything around him. As he even learns to fly. So he becomes a Justice League member full time. And so, hold on. Yeah. He becomes a full-time Zuko, he becomes a full-time Justice League member. First ever. And Green Lantern shows him how to fly in space. As he looks down, don't look down, as the Green Lantern says, as he's flying around with him. Man. I had never been out in space before. As he flies around just a little bit more. But then, out of nowhere, Green Lantern and Zuko came back to Earth. But suddenly, Atrocitus just hits the Green Lantern. With like basically the remains of the power battery. Yeah. So sorry. So Atrocitus was basically like, I want to see your rage. Green Lantern. As he's about to stab him with a construct of a sword. As Zuko says, no! As the constructs of two red hands grabs the blade, breaks it off. As Atrocitus turns to look at him. A kid that I've been searching for. The new power battery. It's you, Zuko Midoriya. Or whoever you are, kid. I'm Zuko. Midoriya. And yes, you're the owner of the Rampage Junior that's inside your chest. I need some assistance from you to rebuild the home from our core. Sure. As Green Lantern tries to be like, Zuko, no. So then he says, huh. So they both leave the planet. As the Atrocitus gets better known as him. How do you feel about a new name for yourself? Because I could sense that you who went through a hard time and all that stuff. So then, yeah. Me? Yeah. As Zucker says, well, okay. How about a name? I like the first name, Zuko. How about Zuko, the Red Lantern, or entity of red, or entity of red, or red, or no, Zuko, the entity of rage. That's you're gonna be, okay? That's perfect. So then they got home, or they got back to the red, or they got to the red planet, or Red Lantern planet, as he sees the core completely destroyed. But then the Azuko home, like, hey, as he knows what to do, so that when he roars, or he uses his powers, and he fixed their core back to the way it was before. So basically reviving the original Rampage. As so, yeah. So he revives him, Rampage, and tells him that Rampage looks at Zuko and tells him that that you have been reincarnated into Zuko Midori, or you bonded with Zuko, my son. Yeah? Huh? Yeah? So, as he fixes the core, Zuko gets a new name of Zuko, the entity of rage. So, then he goes back to Earth. He learns how to make constructs and all that stuff. So, So then when he came back, then he spends a lot of time with his father, or actually, he spends a lot of time with the pro heroes, like All Might, Endeavor, and everybody in between. So yeah, Zuko was like, "Huh? Hell, you're crazy. Yeah, me too. Me 3. Me 4. Me 5. Me 6. Me 7. Me 8." Okay. Sorry. I thought I saw, like, the Enderman or something through my own window. Maybe I was just, like, bobbling my head around too fast. It's because if you guys don't know what I'm going through this so-called vertebrae, where you basically see something like a TV, it starts moving by itself, like wobbles, and it's really not moving, it's just an illusion of it making, yeah. So, yeah. So now let's get back into the what if. So Zuko was now no longer called Zuko Midoriya. He's called Zuko the the entity of rage. So he's basically yeah. So he's not trying to take anyone's title, but he's just got given that name because of his choice. So, sorry. So, let's continue. So now let's go to, or actually, let's say the wedding thing. Like, anniversary thing. Or let's say Lex Luthor and Inko were getting married type of deal thing. Ezekiel, like, brings a gift, and because he knows what she has, or she loved, so but Lex Luthor's guards didn't want to, or you're not invited, and you're not on the list, so that's okay. Can you give her this? Yes, sure. And so then he leaves. And so, sorry, give me a minute. Okay. So, yeah, Zuko leaves. And he joins the Justice League thing. And, yeah, red, green is Christmas colors. Yeah. So, he sometimes works with All Might, sometimes he works with Superman and all that stuff. Well, so a time skip to 15. As one day, let's say All Might, or let's do a time skip of the future thing. where Zuko was now a youngest, like super youngest kid or pro hero that ever lived. And Zuko was, so he went through a mental breakdown, and stuff like this happens a lot. Yeah. So then All Might versus Zuko, or no, not All Might. So you might be wondering what happened to Inko and, or so Zuko gave the present to the guard to give to Inko. And Inko and Lex Luthor actually, when Inko opens a card first, as Zuko signed it, and when she heard, okay, who's this from? And then she read what's inside of it. It says, Zuko, the entity of rage. And she immediately was like, as she could not believe. She knows that he's still alive. And it wasn't her fault and all that stuff. So, and so Lex Luthor is like, Zuko's really, or your son is pretty tough. And, yeah, but when I heard that he was born with a Red Lantern power battery inside of his chest, I almost freaked out. That was after as he looks away, or as she looks away, as Lex Luthor understands what she means, and stuff like that. But Zuko had no grudges against her. So then they had the sister that her name is Zumi. Izumi. That's how I spell her name out. Because sometimes when I say Zumi, usually it says Zoome. Or why? I meant, yeah. So, but she was, because I know that Inko is the daughter, or no, Inko had a son and a daughter, or a son named Zuko Midoriya, that slowly got turned into Zuko, the entity of rage. And then Zumi, she gets the same, or like she has a same quirk at like fire manipulation. So she can control fire. But she doesn't have the same thing what Zuko has. A battery core thing. So Zuko ends up like basically now it's time for All Might versus All for One arc. Where All for One, and of course, so All Might gets injured, but he gets healed up. But All for One took away his regeneration that was been given to him by the Shield of Heroes. Well, because they implanted Zuku's quirk inside All Might, and then All Might so basically All for One stole that quirk from him. So All for One is now immortal because of regeneration, Zuko's quirk. So he says, it's time for you to die. And then out of luck, Zuko comes in he had all four arms, or like all the four constructs in front of him. As All for One says, the Zuko Midoriya. It's an honor meeting you, by the way. As he says, as Zuko says, you're trying to kill my favorite idol, All Might. And I saw that you took away his quirk. Well, technically, it is your quirk, I remember. Because everyone, because I remember I know that Shield of Heroes, took away your quirk to be planted into All Might's body. So, technically, I stole your quirk from him. Yeah. But there's one thing that I will be taking that back. My quirk from you, All for One. As Zuko's power, when he used the Rampage Juniors, not really using him, but just as Zuko's regeneration quirk and the search quirk got taken from All for One to be placed into Zuko's body. So now he has two quirks. The search quirk and a regeneration quirk. And he's like, now it's time for me to use my special. And All for One's extra hands, Zuko's extra hands grabs All for One. And so Rampage, the original guy, actually ran right through All for One and gets killed. Like, basically, All for One gets killed, and yeah. As he's like, no. So, now we believe that this is time. So, Zuko. So actually, Lex Luthor and, of course, Asashi has met, and both of them actually, Lex Luthor tells them that, how about we both get married to Inko? instead of, because of, So then Inko agrees with both of them. And so she has now 2 husbands and 2 childs. Basically, 2 childs are basically Zuku and Zumi. And Lex Luthor actually gets told, or actually his name became Lex Midoriya. Lex Midoriya. And Asashi was named, Asashi Midoriya, and, So then their daughter is now called Zumi Midoriya instead of Zumi Luthor stuff. And but Zuko is still keeping his name because he is still part of the family, but he is a Red Lantern Corps, so they're like, So now 15, and Ochako actually, after she saw, how Rampage thing was, or Rampage Jr. was, and plus with Zuko, both of them, or so, she asked Zuko out on a date. And instead of him denying her, he actually walks up as he says, "Name, sure." Because they thought he was, or because she thought because she got accepted to, love lanterns. Basically the pink or purple lanterns of love one. Because she actually chose Zuko to be her boyfriend. Then they basically got married and had a combined lantern corps, basically. They created a corps called Madly Love. So basically, Madly Love is basically a new lantern corps where it's a combined of lantern of red and the power of love. So basically, it's a power of So Ochako and Zuko love each other so much, and all that stuff. So she gets the name of, or his last name. So because he was used to be called Midoriya, but then all that stuff happens, and he became a new kid, or he became a new person. And if you guys want me to do If you guys want me to redo the what if Deku was the Red Lantern Corps, let me know in the comments below. And have a good night or day, depends on time zones. And I'll catch you guys and girls laters. And yeah, so peace out.